So when I'm doing these problems, I am going to use my ratios to help me out with them, okay? Let me fold this down a little bit because that's not needed. All right, so I see that this is 79 degrees. Well, if this is 90, I would go 90 minus 79, and that's 11. So that means this right there is 11 degrees. So I know since 11 is smaller, 11 degrees is the 1 to 5. So how do I know? 11 is smaller. It's across. That's the 1. 79 is bigger. That's across. It's the 5. So I'm going to set up a ratio. 1 over x equals 5 over 95. So I want you to see the ratio. 1 to 5. 1 to 5. And then we're using our x and 95. X, 95. X, 95. So some of you would see this is times 5 times 5, or you just go like this and go 5x equals 95, divide by 5, x equals 19. Okay, let's go to here. If these two are the same or congruent, that means these two are the same. Well, if this is 90 degrees, what is half of 90? 45 degrees. So A equals 45 degrees and B equals 45 degrees. If you look, the ratio is 1 to 1, 45 degrees. I think a lot of you knew that one logically. All right, 22. So I go 90 minus 22, and that's 68. So this is 68. So we have the 22 and we have 68. 22 is smaller than 68. So 22 gets the smaller side, which if you look, here's the ratio. So 22, 2, 68, 5. What is the ratio? 2 and 5. There's my ratio. Who is the 2 with? The 70. Who's the 5 with? The y. Make an x, multiply what touches. 2y equals 350. Divide by 2, divide by 2, y equals 175. Okay? All right, expected value of winning. So I feel like this one's an easier one for me because it's 1/4. So I know that's 1/4. Okay, so the probability of winning this one is equal to this one. So whatever fraction this is going to be the same thing. Well, I know that if this is 1/4, all of this makes up 3/4. But then they want half of 3/4, which happens to be 3/8. Okay? So if I could try to show you it, if I had a pizza and I sliced it into 4 and I ate 3 out of the 4 pizzas, okay? Now I want half of that. So that means I want, if I split this up, it's kind of like that. Do you see how that makes 8? So that means I only want half. So you get that one, I get that one. You get that one, I get that one. You get that one, I get that one. That's 3 out of 8 pizzas. But what I did is I just went, hey, divide by 2, that's 3/8. So this is 3/8, and this is 3/8. And 3/8 plus 3/8, let me just show you this too so you know I'm right. 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 1/4. Well, that doesn't look easy. But if I make that times 2 and that times 2, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 8, which is the whole pizza. Okay, so let's see if the game is fair. 3/8 times 3 plus 3/8 times 5 plus 1/4 times -6. This is 9/8 plus 15/8 minus 6/4. So I actually want to make these to be the same common denominator, so I'm not using a calculator. Times 2 times 2. So that's really 12 over 8. So see how all the 8s are the same now? 9 plus 15 is 24, minus 12 is 12/8. Divide by 4, 3/2. Okay? So it's 1.5. So in a sense, it's in your favor by $1.50. So it is not fair, but it is in your favor to win. Okay? If it was negative, it wouldn't be fair in their favor or in your favor. And if it's 0, it would have been fair. Okay? All right, I need to think about -1. This is the multiplier. This is the adder. So -1 times what gives me 4/3, and that's 4/3. And then 4/3, which is 1 1/3, minus 1 is 1/3. Multiply that. Negative times a negative is a positive. Okay. And if I add them, I get -7/5. Okay. So this one is the adder. So I've got to figure out what am I going to add so that when I take away 1/6, I get that. It actually ends up being 2. Because if I take away 1/6, that's 1 5/6. If I multiply it, it's -2/6, which is -1/3. That's a rough one. I need to think of two numbers that when I multiply them, I get 16, and when I add them, I get a half. So that's 1/4 and 1/4, because 4 times 4 is 16. And 1/4, if I have a quarter of the pizza and another quarter of the pizza, that's half the pizza. That was a rough one. Okay, which equation is not a correct statement? So they're saying 3x plus y is 180. That's true because of same side interior. So that one's good, but don't circle it. This one is saying that this equals this. They're saying this one equals that one. That's not true. That's false because they're a linear pair. They equal 180 degrees. Okay, this one is saying 2x minus 1 equals, this is saying 2x minus 1 equals 5y minus 10. Based on, oh, that is true, because based on, so that is true. So I should have circled that. Based on alternate interior angles, they are congruent. And these are also congruent. And then this one is saying 2x minus 1 and 3x equal 180. Oh, that's true, because that is also same side interior. They only want you to know the ones that are false. So that's not true. It's not all correct. So A and E are the answer. Let's go to the back page. Okay, solve each of them. If they both say y equals, just set them equal to each other. 5x minus 2 equals 2x plus 10. Draw your line. Move this over here. Move that over there. Divide by 3. X equals 4. The problem is the answer needs to be written as a point. So you're going to take this 4 and plug it in either to this one or this one. I'll pick the positive one. 2 times 4 plus 10. 8 plus 10, 18. Okay, that's it. The second one is a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to take all of this and plug it in there. So we're going to go to parentheses, -2y minus 1. Then plus y equals -20. Multiply, multiply. These are the same. That's an imaginary 1. -4y and y is -3y minus 2 equals -20. And then solve like you normally would. I know my handwriting isn't amazing, but hopefully you're good to go. I get y equals 6. Problem is, all I got was the y value this time. Now I have to get the x. So I'm going to take that y and I'm going to plug it right in there. -2 times 6 minus 1, -12 minus 1, -13, and now I'm good to go. Okay, they want to know if they're similar and or congruent. Well, congruent means they're exactly the same. These are not exactly the same because that has a 9, that has a 9, but that has a 12 and that has an 8. They're not the same thing. So I want to check ratios. So that means I'm going to go 6 to 9 is the same as 8 to 12. So I multiply and I see if it works. That's 72 and that's 72. So they are equal, which means they are similar, but they are not congruent. Congruent means exactly the same. Okay. Let's see. This is 90 degrees and this is a 6. Hold on. So their angles are the same and the side is the same. That's not enough information for me. There's not enough info. Not enough information, okay? All right, let's look at this one. So if these two are the same, that means these two are the same. So that's 72 degrees. To get this side, well, I know a triangle is 180 degrees. I take away the two 72s. So that's 144. So that means that's 36 degrees. If these two are the same and these two are, if these two are the same, that means these two are the same. So 180 minus 36 is 144. If you divide that by 2, that's 72 degrees. Oh, 72, 72, 36, the sides. So that is congruent. It's congruent by side, side, side. It's congruent by angle, side, angle. It's congruent by side, angle, side. I think you get the idea. Okay, all of those justify it. All right, this one is a little bit more difficult. That's why I saved it for the end. So let's see. So there's this big triangle. Oops, I'm off. And there's this little triangle. Well, I do see, if I'm to look at, like, let's say I'm going to draw the little triangle. I'm not very good at doing this, but I'll try my best. I can see that literally they share the same angle. So that angle's the same. I also know that if these two lines are parallel, based on corresponding angles, this angle and this angle are the same. So that angle and that angle are the same. But that's all I can do. So I can only do angle, angle, and that's only a similarity congruence. I could find the third angle, but there is no angle, angle, angle congruency because a smaller one and a bigger one could have the same angles but be different sides. Okay? And that's your homework.